way to be. So hold on, let me make sure I got this square. Okay, yeah, I do. So traditionally, I've always taught twists on this day, and I want to do it with just. I'm reading this book right now. Thanks, Joe. Um, Highly recommend. Highly recommend. So look at it, take a picture of it, screenshot it with your phone right now. Breath by James Nestor. I think it's rare to find a book that is so chock full of very useful information that is pleasant to read at the same time, that it's not just all, kind of like an overwhelming anatomical, type of book. So if you are a human being living on the planet, good book for you to have, right? So we all need to have breath. And I think when we are twisting, a lot of times, so just a caveat, once I fully absorb, a lot of this stuff is not new to me in this book, but I love the way it's very succinctly laid out. And in the next week or two, I'm going to teach a good class on breathing, maybe one or two, to kind of like try to pull everything I've learned from the book into some of the practices that yoga has to offer. But some of it, it's a whole lot of information. So some of it needs to be kind of pulled out and teased out little bits at a time. So today we're going to tease out a little bit of the movement of the diaphragm in relation to twisting. So when we twist, the oblique muscles in the sides of our body that help us rotate, they are somewhat antagonistic to the action of the diaphragm. And this is a good thing, because you know how when we have anything that has tension, a push-pull, if we can find harmony within that push-pull, we have a lot of capacity for strength and a lot of capacity for awareness. And so the diaphragm gets lazy for most of us. And one of the ways that we can try to not only strengthen our diaphragm, but help us to just be aware of the sensation of our diaphragm, instead of our, kind of breathing up in our chest, which we so often do, is by twisting. It gives us a lot of work through our torso to get our rib cage pliable, our spine moving, and our muscles in the center of our body to be moving with our breath. So I think twists can be yet just one more way that we can help ourselves breathe well. So when we're working through our poses today, remember all the things you know about twisting practices. The elongation of the spine is paramount, that if you're twisting on smushed up vertebrae, you are much more likely to put wear and tear on the discs and wear and tear on the vertebrae themselves. So first and foremost, we want a nice long spine, no matter what plane of movement we're working in. And then secondly, we're moving from the breath. So the exhales take us into our twisting instead of ratcheting our body against resistance of bones to make our spine twist. So if we move with space in our spine and we move with breath, our twists are most likely going to be very healthy for us, instead of kind of eking into that vulnerability zone where we can have some damage done to the vertebrae. If you are struggling with vertebral issues, be really mindful, especially in the seated twists. Everything's fair game, but you just want to make sure that you are not going too far or too much in keeping that long spine. Seated twists are the most vulnerable for compressive forces on the body. So if you're trying to skip something, I would skip the seated twists and move toward the supine or the standing pose twists in your practice. So if you're a little vulnerable, that's where to watch out for most. Okay, so let's take a moment to breathe. So have you paid attention to a single breath yet today? And if not, here's your chance, right? Here's your opportunity to close your eyes and go inside and feel. So notice when you inhale and exhale, if you do what I just did and kind of push high, when you inhale, do you feel yourself going high in the body? And just see what it might feel like to breathe through your nose, to feel that you can cultivate the most basic of yogic breathing techniques, ujjayi, which just simply means breathing slowly in through the nose and slowly out through the nose, with maybe a little bit of like shoring up the banks of the river of your breath. So our narrow passageways help to create a little bit of pressure on the diaphragm to help open it up. So see what it feels like to breathe through the back of the nose a little bit and notice the breath traveling There's so much that happens not only biochemically with oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, but just the mechanics of your anatomy. Can you sense into where the breath goes and doesn't go? Do you tend to have one nostril more open than the other? We'll notice that in just a moment when we do some alternate nostril breathing. But in order to tone our diaphragm just a bit to prepare for our practice, let's go ahead and take our right hand and take your thumb and your ring finger on the very tops of your nares. So not at the bottom of your nostrils, but right at the top of your nostrils. And when you don't press all the way in, because we're going to do both sides at the same time. So we're not doing alternate nostril breathing right now. We're doing same side. So you're going to close off your passageways about 50% or less. Less, I should say 50% or more. You want them 50% open or more. So you're going to go to your comfort level and slowly breathe in through the nose. Because you are closing off your breathing capacity, this will automatically slow your inhale down. So just see what you can notice to slowly let the breath in. Notice the diaphragm. See if you can feel the work that the diaphragm needs to do to allow breath in. And same, breathing out through the same. So we're not letting go of the tension on our nose on the exhale. And keeping that 50% closed or so. Doesn't have to be that much. If you feel air hunger is a good thing to feel every once in a while in little bitty bits. Not so much where you're panicked, but enough to train you to tolerate a bit of air hunger. So go in your pace, your comfort zone, your pace of breath. See if you can sense if one nostril is more open than the other. See if you can sense where the breath's going. Can you feel the back of your nose? Can you feel your pharynx and your vocal cords and the way it travels down your trachea? Can you feel your lungs expand and release? Can you feel your diaphragm? What are you sensing physically? And after your next exhale, go ahead and release your hand and just enjoy the open flow of air. See if you can still have the work of your diaphragm, the awakeness that hopefully cultivated in your diaphragm be present for you. Okay, and then while we're sitting here, we're going to roll back like a seated cat-cow, tuck the chin toward the chest, and then roll up like a big open back bend. Move back. Ooh, that'll be good. I'll be out of the light. Okay, so rounding back a little bit and then opening up a bit and just going back and forth, feeling not only your spine move, but let your rib cage move a little pliability in your rib cage, opening up the spine. And now we're going to go side to side. So see what it feels like to shift your ribs from one side to the other. And just going back and forth. Make sure you're still breathing. And then we're going to go in a circle. So everything that we just did and put it together. So shift to the right and to the front, shift to the left and back. And obviously your spine is involved in this, but let your rib cage be very much involved in this. Feel how your shoulders respond. Your pelvis might respond. How is your breath? Okay, and then go the other direction. Just loosening up the rib cage as much as you can. All right, and then let's go ahead and relax that. Go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. Find an intention for your practice. Just settle into the body here, drop. Enjoy the way you're breathing. Okay, and then we're going to come up to stand. So come on up on your feet. Take your hands And we're gonna just, you guys have done this with me before. We're just gonna do a little pounding on our ribs. So you can use kind of like I'm trying to go where my light isn't, but the thumb and index finger side of your fist, or you can use open scoop hands. So whichever feels good to you. Try to get into the back of your ribs a little bit, the tops of your ribs. If you feel like you need to cough, go ahead and cough. Just enjoy. If you have a partner in your home with you right now who's doing yoga with you, do it to each other, smack on each other's backs. Keep breathing. Try not to hold your breath while you're doing this. Deep breaths in and away. All right, great. And then take a moment and shake out your arms and just relax. Already feel the beauty of your breath. All right, and then interlace your hands, reach your arms straight up in the air. Find the length in the sides of your body. Extend over to the right, feeling the openness through the rib cage. Breathing deeply here. Back to center and go the other way, reaching up and over to the side. Finding breath. All right, and then come to some cactus arms. Feel a sense of openness, and we're just going to do a standing cat-cow. So the forearms come to touch, the chin tucks in, open the chest, spread your wings out. Okay, and just a couple times, and a little hint that if you have trouble being on all fours, where we usually start with cat-cows, this is great to do if you can't bear weight on your hands. All right, and then release your arms down to the ground. Interlace your hands behind you. Grab onto the right wrist with the left hand. Feel a sense of extension up as you reach the left ear down and your right ear up. Find the side of your neck. Breathe there. And then come back to center and go the other way. Reach onto the wrist. Feel a sense of lift through that ear. Open across your collarbones. Enjoy the stretch in your neck. And then relax. Take a deep breath. Arms coming up to the sky. Lean back a little bit. And then exhale and fold forward. Let your back relax. Feel free to wag your tail, roll your shoulders around, wag your head around. Find your breathing. And then we're going to come up to a halfway lift. Extend the spine. Hands on thighs or shins. Then exhale and melt back down. Come onto all fours. Come onto your hands and knees. If you need to, you can have a different variation. If you need to be on wrists or off wrists, you can take forearms on blocks. All right, and let's start moving some cat-cows. Arching and rounding the spine. Stay present with the breath. See if you can still maintain that slow, slightly closed off rhythm of your breathing that we did. You don't have your hands on your nostrils, so you don't have that reminder to kind of narrow the passageways. So just see what it feels like to do that in your mind as you move the body. Feel free now to move things around. So maybe you want to do what we did on the floor, where the rib cage is dropping down off to the side, up to the other side, and just feel some really good range of motion in the thoracic spine. If you're going in a circle like that, go the other way. All right, and then come to a flat back. We're going to turn and look out over our right foot. Let the left hip shift off to the side. Open up through the space in our hip bone. Take a deep breath. And then come back to center and go the other way. Breathing in, breathing out. And then come back and find another swirl again. This time, take it into your pelvis. So instead of swirling the rib cage around, swirl the pelvis in a circle, like you're hula hooping or painting a circle on the wall behind you. Whatever movement it feels good, and then switch directions. Let's just loosen up the spine, all the little ways that the spine moves, and then add the rest of the spine to that low back and feel your body move in any rhythm or pattern that is going to loosen you up. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the fingers out in front of you to wherever they go. If your shoulder bothers you, you can always take your arms in a different position. Relax your neck. Walk the hands over to the left side of your mat and find your breath. Open that rib cage up. See if the pressure of your thighs against your ribs has any impact on the sensation of your diaphragm. Maybe you're not that low, maybe your flexion in your hips or knees doesn't allow your torso to touch your legs. And then come back to center. Slow breathing through your nose. Try to get as steady in your breathing pace as you can. Just like, when you're cooking two things on the stove, even as we're moving our body and focusing on what we're doing, can you have a sideburn or always paying attention to how your breath is moving through you? Come back to all fours. Lift the left arm up in the air. Find a big breath here, and then exhale and slide that shoulder down. Our first twisting action, just notice what's here. See what the spine has to do to twist and what the breath can do while twisting. Relax your neck. Soften your gaze toward the floor. Feel the base of your skull melt a bit. Find the full inhale and the full exhale. Inhale, reach that arm all the way back up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground and switch sides. Arm up, slide that arm through. Let's just enjoy. Are you happy to be doing yoga? Are you joyful in your practice? Is your breath experiencing joy? Is your body experiencing joy? What does it feel like to be present, opening things up, breathing, moving? All right, and inhale and reach that arm all the way to the sky again. Place the hand down, curl the toes under, and find your way to our first big dog pose. So as you come here, let's enjoy the feet. Spread open the bones of your feet, the bones of your hands. Feel the yielding into the earth, the rebound through the spine. Pick up the heart and lift it to the pelvis. Pick up the kneecaps and lift them to the hips. Find the sense of ease across your shoulders and neck as much as you can. Stay present with your breath. Deep inhale, deep exhale. What would it feel like to feel like you're closing off the nasal passages again? Feeling that breath slow down, the diaphragm work. Feel and notice the difference in how your diaphragm is in space when you're upside down in a posture like this. And then walk your feet forward and come back into Uttanasana. Fold in half, let the knees soften, wag your tail a little bit. So if we're trying to be really mindful of the spaciousness of our spine, how much do you need to bend your knees so you can tip the pelvis forward, lift the tailbone up, and let the spine fall toward the floor. Let the neck dangle. Inhale for a halfway lift. Feel the space between your vertebrae. Thigh bones moving back. Exhale and release back down. Push off your feet. Rise up, big breath. Open your chest. And then relax your arms down at your sides. Take your feet at least hip width apart. You can even go wider than hip width apart for this. You kind of decide. And we're just going to warm up our body with some standing twists. Be very mindful. So if you know twists are, if you're having some vulnerability in your back anywhere along your spine, but especially your lumbar spine, be really gentle. So you can do this slowly. You can do this quickly. You can do this with your arms close to your hips. You can do this with your arms way out to the side or even up, okay? Or switching your arms into different planes as you move. Make sure you are breathing as you do this. Try to let the pelvis go with the twist. There's, different ways of doing twists. Sometimes we need our pelvis to be more stable. For these twists that we're doing, let the pelvis be free. Turn with the spine. And then relax and melt. Take a deep breath in. Arms flowing up. Lean back, a little bit of a back bend. If it feels nice, fold forward. Relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your left foot back. Your right foot is coming forward. Coming into a lunge. Okay, finding your breathing here. Heart is forward and extended. And let's go ahead and put our back knee down onto the floor. Toes can curl under or lay flat. Be mindful to not just fall toward the earth. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other. Hug to the midline with your inner thighs. So your legs are stable as you lift your arms up, up, up in the air. Find an extension through the rib cage here. Open things up. And then when you're ready, square your shoulders back again, so not tipping, and turn to the right. Place your elbow, or if you don't go that far, just place your hand on your knee. So this is where you start doling out the twist appropriately for you. If you try to go deep and then color in from the depth, that's much different than trying to find your way into the depth one little bit at a time. So don't go for the deepest thing first. Fall or move yourself toward your depth instead of placing your body into this deepest place and then trying to find that. Extend upward through your spine, widen across your collarbones. Notice your diaphragm. Big breaths in. The exhale takes your diaphragm in. See what it feels like to use your obliques to twist you. And then come back around. Again, place your hands down onto the ground. Bring your back knee, or bring your knee back, all fours, cat-cow. Finding the arch, finding the round, and then let's lie on the floor. Okay, come onto your belly. Let the shoulders move away from the ears. Inhale, come up to a cobra pose, and then exhale and melt back down. So take your hands off the floor for a moment and just lift up a little bit. So we're gonna hover here for a moment. Feel all the work in the muscles along your spine. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Breathe out deeply through your nose. See what it feels like to feel those slower channels of the breath. Can you feel the work of the diaphragm? Can you stabilize through your core? And then release and let go back down. Pick up your feet and let's just windshield wiper your knees left and right. Feel the ease across your spine. Come up onto all fours. And then when you're ready, let's bring our left foot forward. Right foot comes back. You can keep your knee on the ground or just lift it up for a moment to find your lunge and then put it back down. See what works for you. Find your breath, rise on up. Arms to the sky, take a deep breath, find the stability of your legs. So even though your knees down on the ground, don't lose all your strength. Take one arm up, extend it open, feel the breath touch the rib cage. And then we're gonna bring that arm over. So you decide, do you want your hand there, your forearm there, your elbow there? So the elbow's a deep pose, so don't feel like you have to go to the deepest place. Remember, the goal here is not to find, the deepest twist your spine can feel, but to rather feel your breath move you in a twist. So as you're here, can you feel the resistance against your diaphragm? Can you feel the exhales twist you a bit more? Are you stable? Are you able to breathe? Are you able to keep the spine spacious and free? So who cares how deep you are in a pose? As long as you can breathe, as long as your body feels stable, as long as you feel free and healthy, who cares how deep a pose is? All right, let's come back. Go ahead and walk your back foot forward, fold in half. Let the spine relax into symmetry. Inhale for a halfway lift. Lift the arches all the way up to the sit bones, to the inner thighs, the outer hips. See if you can get that line upward and at the same time root downward. Feel the extension of your spine. So I'm hoping your hands are on blocks so you can feel long and spacious. All right, great. And then let's melt back down. Again, push off your feet, rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. Find your breath, put your toes together, come into chair pose. If you need a block between your thighs for chair pose, there's so many different things that everybody's working with. So if you have a knee issue, a block can offer a lot of stability. If you're recovering from an illness or anything else, you can also put your butt against a wall or something to help you so that there's a little bit less effort in the posture. So you do you, whatever's needed. Find the arms in a comfortable place. If they can go up, great, but if they need to be in a different place, that's fine too. Breathing well. Let's find an inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, reaching back up. Exhale, twist to the left. Try to isolate this into the rib cage and the obliques. Start to wake up the obliques a little bit. One more time up, each side. Full breath. Breathe through the nose if you can. And then stand all the way back up. Take the block out of there. If you're able to, take your right foot forward and your left foot back. You can always grab onto a support if you need it. Come to a full lunge. Reach the arms up if your arms allow for that. Otherwise, out to the sides or down. Extend your heart, open up the rib cage, and when you're ready, we're twisting again. Drop the shoulders. See, don't worry about how far you go. See if you can keep the stability of the legs and let the exhales take you into a twist. Feel the resistance against your diaphragm as you inhale. And then inhale, back up to crescent lunge, hands down onto the ground. Step back to a plank. Hold steady here. Deep breaths in. Exhale all the way. Put your knees down. Slowly lower yourself to the floor. Hands now coming back behind you. Palms are facing the floor. Lift everything up. Your legs can be close or far away from each other. Feel the diaphragm. Breathe here. The back of the neck is long. And then go ahead and relax and melt. Come up onto all fours. Have a moment of swirling around your spine. Anything that feels really nice in your body. And then we're going to bring our left foot forward, our right foot back. Okay, come into a lunge. And when you're ready, lift on up. Take support if you need to. Take your legs wider apart if you need to, left and right. So just see where you're at. If you're able to bring your arms up, great. And if you need a different position, great. Try not to jut your rib cage forward. See what it feels like to integrate. And then let's twist to the side. So, decide. You can have your hands just straight out from your chest. It's okay to twist the arms a little bit further. Sometimes when I do that, I get a compression in my lumbar spine. I like it better to keep my arms somewhat in line with my chest. Hug to the midline with your thighs and use your breath. Drop the shoulders. And then inhale, arms back up, hands down onto the ground, dog pose. Extending through your spine here. Enjoy the way your body feels. Deep inhale, long spine, long exhale. Remember all that spinal length we're cultivating. Okay, let's come down onto our back for a moment. We're going back up, so just know this is a little pit stop on our back. Okay, we're going to just, warm up our obliques a little bit. Our obliques laterally bend us and twist us, so we're going to do a little bit of both to help our obliques be alive and well for twisting postures. These are the primary muscles that we need. There's a lot of muscles we need, but this is a prime mover for twisting the body. So take your hands behind your head like a classic high school sit-up, feet flat on the ground, knees bent. We're going to come up and hover just a little bit. The bottom tips of your shoulder blades are still on the ground. Check in and make sure your neck is cradled in your head like a pillow. Make sure you're okay. Okay, so this is good for your body or no? And then come down and rest. So if that primary position felt good on your spine, then we're going to do some movement from there. Inhale to lift back up where we were, and we're going to keep the elbows open and drop the left elbow toward the left hip. Your head is looking up at the sky, your head is in your hands. And then come back to center and go the other way. A nice way to stabilize yourself in this as you go back and forth is to have a block between your thighs. So if you feel a little wonky in your pelvis, you can stop, put a block between your thighs and try. Anytime you need a break, take a break. Make sure you're able to breathe as you just sink into the compression on one side, opening the other. And the cool thing about lateral bending, besides waking up your obliques, is you get to stretch one side and flex one side. So it's like picking two flowers with one hand. Are you breathing? Where do you like to inhale? Where do you like to exhale? Is your head resting back in your palms? All right, and then relax your head back down. Take a deep belly breath. All right, let's go ahead and relax that for a moment. Okay, two other things we're going to do here. Same thing with our hands. We're going to interlace behind our head. We're going to bring our knees up. Now, I'll give you a plan A and a plan B. Plan A is to have your legs straight up in the air. Uh-oh, am I going to hit? I'm probably going to hit my furniture, so I'll modify this. But extend your legs out. Now, before we move anything, feel the extension in your spine. Stabilize through your core. And then we're going to drop our right leg, straight leg, toward the floor. Don't touch. Right chest lifts toward left knee, and then back up to meet the legs together and switch sides. I'm bending my knee because I have to, because I have furniture here. So if you can keep the legs straight, great. If that's too much for you, you get to start with your knees bent, and you're going to straighten one leg as you lift the chest to the opposite knee, and then knees back into each other. This is a little bit more gentle for the spine, so you decide which of these poses is best for your body. So feel the obliques and feel your breath. Try to take notice of where your strength is coming from your muscles and not over fatiguing the back. So it's easy for the back of the body to take over a little bit of the burden. Just try to stay in your healthy zone. How are you breathing? All right, and then go ahead and release your feet back down onto the ground. Big belly breath. Relax everything you can. Breathing through the nose. Now, the last one we're going to do is a little vulnerable for some people. So check in and make sure this is okay. You can move little bits at a time. The palms are out to the sides like a T. We're going to keep our knees bent. You can do the straight leg version of this. I'm going to teach the bent leg version, but if you want to do it with straight legs, that's by all means. We're going to drop our knees toward our elbow and then lift them back up and drop our knees high toward our other elbow. So you don't have to make contact with the floor. This pose can be like 2 inches off to one side, then 2 inches to the other side. It does not have to be deep, like taking your knees all the way to your elbows. Make sure that your body is working this from the right musculature instead of relying on your low back. If you tend to go to the floor and your knees are real far away from your elbows, this tends to put a little bit more strain on the lumbar spine than if you keep your knees high toward your elbow. So even if you don't go anywhere near your elbow, try to keep the knees up toward your chest. Back and forth with the breath, belly turning pose. Great pose to kind of just move everything in your insides. You know, it all gets stuck in there. So everything's tightly packed in, all your organs and your muscles and your lungs and your ribs and your spine. So let's just take some time to move things around, compress things, open things, breathe into things. All right, and then relax your knees into your chest. Give them a little hug for a minute. And then we're going to put our feet onto the ground. Take a deep breath. We're going to come up to bridge pose. You can decide whether you want to do this a little bit more gently, maybe some flowing bridges where you're going up and down, or maybe you want a full bridge pose where you climb onto the tops of your shoulders and work your way into some height of your pelvis. No matter what you're doing, pay attention to the breath. See if you can feel the work of your pelvis stabilizing your sacrum. You know, it's pretty easy to get your sacrum offline from twisting. So let this be kind of a renewal of symmetry, a renewal of equal strength across the pelvis and back body. Let it be a renewal of the movement of your diaphragm. How's your breath? All right, then lower your pelvis back down, roll over onto your side, and come back up to dog pose. So feeling the breath. Moving in, moving out, extend the spine. Inhale, lift your right leg up in the air. Take a deep breath, knee to nose. Call your breath out. Inhale, bring that leg back. Bring your foot forward, come to a lunge. Shorten up your stance. Blocks are so nice if you have them. So Parsvottanasana instead of Konasana, legs. So our legs are not in as long of a lunge. You can take your right foot out to the right as much as you want so that the pelvis feels broad and spacious. The inner spiral of your thighs is available. The rooting of your feet happens. The extension of your spine is free. So enjoy the hamstrings opening. Be really mindful to have a little rooting into the earth with that front heel. Finding the breath. All right, come on up. Find your way. Hands on your hips. And you can do a couple different things here. If you want to interlace your arms behind you, my shoulders are a little funky for that. So I like recently to just keep my hands on my hips. But if you have very open, free shoulders, you can for sure interlace your forearms or even do reverse namaste behind your back. Extend the heart forward, reach into the openness of your chest, especially if your arms are behind your back and it's making you internally rotate your shoulders. Open things up, expand through your chest, root into the feet, square the hips, feel the work in your hamstring. It's a stretch flex happening simultaneously. How's the breath? All right, come all the way back up. Walk your back foot forward, take your front foot back, come into Parsvottanasana on this side, hands down onto the blocks. Extending through your spine, just enjoy your hands down to just give your hamstring a moment to feel the openness of this posture. Adjust your legs to whatever you need them to be. You can take that left foot out to the left a little bit more to help give your room for your pelvis. Feel the inner spiral of your thighs, the wideness of your sit bones. Feel the spine grow. Can you root through the big toe mound of that front foot as you reach the hip back? How's your breath? All right, come on up to stand. Reach the arms to the sky. And then put your arms wherever is comfortable for your body. They can be on your hips, they can be behind your back, however works for you. Lift up through the fullness of your front line and then extend forward. This is a lot of work for your hamstring to hold you in place here. So root your foot, your front foot down and even pull it back a little bit. Try to recruit all of your hamstrings instead of a little section. How's your breathing? How's the heads of the arm bones? Are you collapsed at all in your spine or able to stay long? All right, come back up. Find your breath. Bring your hands down onto the ground. Lift that leg straight up behind you. Three-legged dog with your left leg in the air. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring that leg back. 2 feet on the ground. Finding the breath. Dog pose. Enjoy the spaciousness for your diaphragm, for your ribs. Let's bring our right foot forward. Short stance again. You need a block. Maybe even 2 blocks. Come on up to short stance again, so we're not in a long lunge. Take the right hand on the hip. The left arm lifts in the air. Extend forward and come into a revolved triangle pose. So however high you need the blocks to be to support the length of your spine. Try not to let the right hip push out to the side. Hug it back in. Inner spiral of the thighs. The sit bones widen. Root into the front big toe as you reach the hip back. Feel the growing length of your spine. Let the twist come on your exhales. What does it feel like to twist with the obliques? Keep inner spiral, keep the feet grounded, keep the spine long. Heads of the arm bones back so the shoulders are broad. Maybe the arm lifts in the air, maybe the head looks up, maybe not. All right, and then come out of revolved triangle pose. Walk the back foot forward, fold in half. Stick a block between your thighs, come into chair pose. Reach the arms anywhere you want them to be. Okay, so there's no rules, only breath. All right, and then standing all the way back up, and then go ahead and fold again. Left foot forward, right foot back. Short stance. Left foot can come out to the side as much as you need it to be. Open the chest here, bring your hand onto your hip, and your right arm now lifts up in the air. Take a breath, we're leaning forward, stretch the spine long, bring the hand to rest on the block or blocks. Maybe you need a little more height underneath you. Maybe one block's enough. See what you're doing. Inner spiral of the thighs, root into the front big toe as you reach that hip back. Hug the hip in, so the left hip is hugging in toward the midline instead of popping out. Feel the spine grow before you twist. So remember that long spine gives us so much space and freedom for our vertebrae and discs. Start to move into the twist with your exhales. Breathe your way into the posture. Breathing through the nose. Open across your collarbones. Maybe your arm comes in the air, maybe it doesn't. Maybe your head tips up, maybe it doesn't. Stay compact through the pelvis, but the sit bones widen on the inner spiral of your legs. So that just simply means internally rotate the thighs a little bit. Stay rooted in the feet. How's the breath take? Where is the breath taking you? And then exhale and relax back down. 2 hands on the floor, plank pose. Feel the symmetry. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath away, and then slowly lower yourself all the way down to your belly. As you lie down on your belly, see what it feels like to notice what your sacrum feels like. So we're going to do, you have a choice. You can either do any variation of Superman, so that could be arms down at your sides or out or up, however your super person pose is. And then the legs can be either close or wide. And if you want a little extra something, interlace your hands behind your back and open up the heads of the arm bones for locust pose. So choose a variation that works for your body. And when we lift up, whether legs are close or far, see if you can feel that hug onto the sacrum, that sense of balance and symmetry, support, stabilization on the sacrum. Also feel the diaphragm. See how the body moves when your diaphragm moves. Your whole body moves when your diaphragm moves. So see if you can feel that as you take deep breaths in and out here. You're, kind of balanced on top of your diaphragm. So notice how it rocks you. This is like weightlifting for your diaphragm. You're using your own body weight to strengthen your diaphragm. But it only happens if you're breathing well. Okay, let's come out of there. Put your head down. You can turn it one way or the other. Feel free to windshield wiper your knees one way to the other. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. All right, let's come back onto all fours. Have a moment of some joy in a cat-cow. Feel the nice full breath. Feel free to have a little, spinning of the rib cage like we did in the beginning of class, the movement of the pelvis. All right, great. And we're going to go ahead and come back up to stand. So walk your feet forward, fold in half, lengthen through your spine. Rise all the way up. Take a deep breath here, reaching to the sky. Open your heart like some cactus arms. And then relax and come with your arms down. Now stand here for a moment and just breathe. See if there's any awakening through your torso from the twisting, from the working the diaphragm, from the breath. Okay, now we're going to do the standing. If you're at all dizzy, sit down for a moment. We're going to practice the same breath we did in the beginning. Ring finger and fourth finger on the tops of the nares. Nares are your nostrils. Okay, now we're fatigued a little bit more. You know, we've been working, so just notice the difference. As you breathe in through about 50% closed off nostrils. You can do any percent that don't do more than 50% compressed nostrils, but you can do less. So if you need a little bit more air, you want to get to a place where you are feeling a little bit of air hunger. Just a little bit, kind of like, you know, your stomach's rumbling before lunch, not like I haven't eaten in 3 days. Okay, so just a little bit of hunger. Relax your neck. Is it easier to breathe in through your nose? Is it easier to breathe out through your nose? What are you noticing? When your nares are closed off, see if you can pull the breath in from further back in your nose. Let the channel that pulls breath in be further back. Does this give you a sense of touch point onto the diaphragm? Okay, and then relax that. Take a deep breath through an open nose. Let's inhale, lift the arms to the sky, exhale and fold in half, fold forward. Halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Come all the way to the ground, come to sit on the floor and go ahead and put a blanket underneath your bottom if it feels good to do so. Okay. Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet are together. Okay. Interlace your fingers underneath your feet and kind of climb your armpit chest forward a little bit so you're not collapsed backwards. Lift the chest, open up. So let the feet be a little bit of a traction for your shoulders. So if you pin your fingers under there, I feel a big stretch on my neck when I do this. Still breathing through the nose. And then release the hands. Take the hands behind you. Open up the feet a little bit. We're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana in a moment. So let's just prepare for that. So the knees drop, the chest opens. See if you can pull the big toes away from each other. Just get some movement in the outer hips. And then just to stretch our hips, just to give us some ease, let's move our feet forward so we create more of a diamond shape between our legs. And then try not to round the spine too much. Reach the heart forward. Place the elbows or forearms or something on your knees. Give a little pressure and extend the heart forward. And just notice, do you have one hip that's a lot tighter than another hip? Just see what's here. Go ahead and come on up. Crisscross your legs. Simple seated twist. Reach the left arm up, the right hand behind you, hook to the hand, to the knee, and twist to the side. So even though this is a pretty simple looking twist, there's a lot going on in this posture. So see if you can notice the gravitational compression on your spine. Reach up against it. Reach your crown. Feel your sit bones. Use your breath to twist you. Use your exhales to twist you. Open across the collarbones, the shoulder blades stay down, the hips are grounded, the breath is moving you. then come back and switch sides. So the left hand is behind you, reach the right arm up, bring it to the out, bring your right hand to the outside of your left knee. Once again, anytime you have leverage of a bone on a bone for twisting, this is a vulnerable place to be. We can push hard and our bones have a lot of leverage. So let's not take that leverage and instead breathe our way into the twist. Just let the hand on the knee be a firm, container for the twist instead of a forced, deep movement of the twist. The movement of the twist happens from the breath. Let your belly move out and in. See if you can feel the churning that twists offer. It's not like they're wringing out your spine or wringing out your organs, but certainly when you have compression against the diaphragm and the diaphragm moves, there's a lot of compression in there that as you move your breath, it has some really good massage for your internal organs. So if you do need a little pick-me-up on the insides, this is a great, twists are great. They give you energy from this perspective. All right, and then come back to center. Let's go ahead and find our way into Supta Baddha Konasana. Now, if you have all the props in the world and you want to do this pose, with a lot of support, then you can take as much support as you want. You can, take blankets, bolsters behind you and build a ramp. You can have blocks for underneath your knees for Supta Baddha Konasana. You can have blankets underneath your knees. You can be flat on your back with nothing under your back and only support underneath your knees. So just, see what you have in your house to support you and take your favorite variation of Supta Baddha Konasana. And as you get comfortable, let your arms be where they want to be. Give yourself over to the symmetry, to the rest, to the openness. Give yourself over to the breath. Can you relax your neck and shoulders? Can you let your head rest? What is your breath feeling like here? Can you slow it down like when we were holding on to the nostrils? Is your spine easy and free, or is it resting after the twists? Is there any adjustment you need to make yourself super comfortable? When you're trying to take good, healthy, deep breaths, moving the diaphragm, expanding the ribs, what's happening with your neck and shoulders? Can you train yourself to tame the need for your shoulders to do the work of your breathing? Can you allow the openness of your diaphragm to be connected to the openness of your pelvis? As you're ready, let's go ahead. And now, if you're super comfortable, feel free to just stay put if you want a little bit longer Supta Baddha Konasana. But if you're ready for a transition into Shavasana, let's go ahead and bring our knees together. Take a moment, just settling your hips into neutral. And then find any support you want for Shavasana. If you would like to have a bolster underneath your knees, that's awesome. Blankets, if you want to be flat on the ground, however is best supportive for your body and your breath. So as you come into onto the floor, just notice, what if twist offered you in the quality of how your body feels right now, as well as the quality of your mind, quality of your breath. Just notice how you are. Are you able to melt? Are you able to rest? Is there any part of you that's having some trouble resting that you can consciously bring your breath to? Can you melt the muscles in your face and relax through your eyes? Can you just be easy with your breathing, soft in your body? So let's slowly begin to deepen our breathing again. And as you start to become aware of the space around you, breathe into that space. Let yourself expand on the breath. Let's begin to move a bit. You can wiggle your toes and stretch through your hands, maybe rolling your ankles or wrists, perhaps turning your head from one side to the other. However, your body wants to move is great. Let's eventually find our way onto our side. And as you are able to, carefully, slowly rise up, let your head come up last, be so gentle, returning to a upright position. Place your palms together at your heart. And let's take another deep, full, slow breath. Relax your shoulders. Let's just take a moment to offer your practice, share your energy, send forth your energy with someone who needs your love, your care. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here.